Well, we'll look at the artesian video. I haven't actually seen this. This will be my first rodeo here.
This is the biggest scam we've ever covered. This is insane. This ghost town of a warehouse is filled with active build tickets, dozens of power supplies, video cards locked in cages, and there's several areas where it's as if it was frozen in time. Build stations remain as in-progress work sites. Even the employees' drinks and lunch were left behind.
Wait, what?
And bins remain partially unpacked.
It's like a zombie apocalypse.
Once excited to move into this brand new multi-million-dollar warehouse that was customized for them. The computers you're seeing, those are still due to customers today, including some who are probably watching this video right now.
Wait, what?
We got inside of the foreclosed Artesian Builds offices in what turned out to be one of our biggest investigations yet, as we try to unearth what went wrong for many of the customers who got screwed by Artesian Builds.
Noah. I can answer that with one word.
Artesian Builds went from being a robust, pre-built PC manufacturer with 2 locations and 60 to 70 employees doing $20 million a year in revenue to a bankrupt warehouse with over $1 million of inventory still locked up and still
$1 million of inventory
today. People who will never see the PCs they ordered, and
that is fucked. If someone ordered a PC near the end of Artesian's life,
the computers that were in here, they had been sitting in here for months.
God, I feel so bad for them. They could probably charge back or something though, right?
Customers sent in for repair with their personal files, work files, family photos, tax documents, anything like that, stuck, trapped on the systems, imprisoned, where they will never be able to get them back because all of it is being sold at auction.
Ooh, and
man, fucking Noah, dude.
And unfortunately, the follower count is extremely flat. Yeah, no, that's a no. This is an ambassador giveaway, and you've got to be collaborating with my company to get my free computers. Sponsored by Intel. Thanks, Intel.
Even though that now infamous live stream was an absolute train wreck.
Holy.
It's not the only reason Artesian Builds went out of business. They were doomed a long time ago. This was one of their 2 old locations. The last time we were here was one day after the implosion of Artesian Builds, and now we're back to see how it's gone. The last time also
did he like break in?
Right when Artesian fired all of its staff via Twitter without notice.
Is it like the McDonald's robbery guy?
That was how they found out that they lost their jobs. Today then, Artesian Builds still owes about 800 builds and about $1.8 million to its customers. And that's not counting whatever it or its owners will owe once the pending lawsuits conclude.
Yeah.
We were investigating this. We found that about a dozen or so former employees noted to us that they had not received the entirety of their last paycheck.
It gets worse and worse.
We also are aware of at least one active lawsuit currently being
there has to be more than one
against Artesian Builds or its owner, who now has to navigate the waters of making sure he hasn't accidentally pierced the corporate veil somewhere. The company played with selling home goods like cheesecakes, direct-to-consumer, jigsaw
Artesian
puzzles,
pillow,
PCs, cutting boards, and slippers. Painting
the fuck was that?
Jigsaw puzzles of PCs.
Moist critical boat puzzle.
Its founder and CEO is also obsessed with the idea of internet fame and celebrity. This is something we experienced firsthand and entirely inappropriately when trying to interview him about the downfall of his company in the days before it closed.
I'm an influencer, but I'm also an executive.
And don't just take our word for it.
Influencer, that comes first.
When employees were begging the CEO to please apologize for dismissing and disrespecting smaller creators, he made statements like these. When confronted by employees that publicly disrespecting free marketing vectors, whom Artesian referred to as
an ambassador,
Katz said to his staff, "Wait, what? They're my buddies. What the fuck? If they aren't, that's the whole problem. That's the whole problem, guys. Am I not being clear?" A former staff member named Abby is currently in debt 3,900 British pounds on her PayPal account, or about $4,700 US. This is because what was left of Artesian, or Artesian Futures, or whatever it is now, recalled all payments made to her during the tumultuous downfall of the company.
The fuck
PayPal
is that?
sided with Katz because of the company's size, probably, and presumably because they didn't know that it was going under. And because Abby doesn't know anyone who really works at PayPal, she's kind of screwed. She's in the UK. She's not able to really feasibly sue Katz.
Oh, that is fucked. There is no way.
PayPal would be the only avenue.
Yeah,
The
PayPal has
cases
to do
showed
something
two
about that.
disputes, one for $2,965 or so US, and one for $2,570 US. Artesian Builds was in desperate need of GPUs in order to complete builds that were partially assembled but could not ship due to the GPU shortage. And this will build into a much bigger issue that we'll get to later on, where the company had upwards of millions of dollars of inventory, which we've verified on the balance sheet, sitting, waiting to ship, and unable to because it was missing a GPU. So the company ties up all this money in all these builds and cannot actually ship them, creating just a massive liabilities sheet. So as a result of this, Artesian started seeking GPUs from employees and from eBay because they needed them to sell the actual builds. There's nothing inherently wrong with buying a GPU from an employee of the company if the company and the employee come to an agreement about it. That's completely fine.
Wait, is it though?
Is the payment of it. And by the way, there's also mining PCs being sold from AB Mining, but that's
wait, but if the company is selling a computer to a customer, but the company gets their GPU from an employee, wouldn't that GPU already be used? And that's a little weird. East versus West. Here we go.
And then we get into the power struggle between the East Coast and West Coast branches of Artesian Builds. The East Coast was run largely autonomously. It had the operations team in it, including the COO and other people in operations and warehousing who could largely
East Coast built my
own.
PC.
The West Coast was run directly by the CEO, who resided and worked there. And in terms of staff, our understanding is that the Artesian Build split was about 2-to-1 staff on the West Coast to the East Coast, meaning the West Coast had more staff at any given time than the East Coast based on what we've been informed. So there were about 3 to 4 employees building PCs on the East Coast, and with these staff members for building, not
these guys built mine.
Support,
I remember
warehousing, logistics, people in the C-suite for operations or marketing or whatever, not counting any of those supporting roles, only building PCs. The East Coast branch was capable of
I remember the spinning
20
table.
to 31 systems a day, depending on the complexity of the systems being built that day.
This guy actually built mine. I don't want to. Oh, his name's right here. Tong. Yeah, he built mine. This is the guy who built mine. This is him.
4 builders.
I remember.
This is the quality of build we were told would get delivered between the warehouses. What you're looking at is the PC build for streamer Nick Merckx. It shows how it was initially built and shipped from the West Coast branch.
That looks a little
directly worked on these builds.
Weird.
The West Coast would build the celebrity builds often on stream and often done by the CEO and maybe one other builder. And then the East Coast would beg the West Coast branch to ship them the builds for a final once-over. In this Nick Merckx build, that's exactly what happened. The East Coast branch handled the final packing and distribution of the system and would...
Oh yeah, that. Oh my God. I like how there's just one like tie here holding like at least 7 wires together. Oh yeah, this is way better. Oh yeah, this is. Oh yeah, this is busted up. Look at that. Holy Jesus. Which one's yours? Mine was built by East Coast. They actually showed the guy earlier. Here, this guy built mine. Tongue. I remember. He was pretty nice. Yeah, mine was probably on this same pedestal at some point too. He was pretty nice.
Coast would beg the West Coast branch to ship them the builds for a final once-over. In this Nick Merckx build, that's exactly
mine was built
by
East Coast.
The East Coast branch handled the final packing and distribution of the system.
My wires didn't look this good though.
The West Coast, the lower-level East Coast employees
this is fucked though.
The cabling mess that was delivered. We were told that the normal escape rate for the West Coast was approaching 10%, meaning 10% of the product leaving would have some form of
10%?
need a replacement, a refund,
Oh, that's
or be shipped
fucked.
back for repair. And the East Coast escape rate was less than 1%, typically.
Look, see, less than 1%, man.
Range. So there's clearly
mine's
an issue
probably
with
good, man.
operations between the two branches. Artesian would regularly send its warehouse team to purchase GPUs at full retail price or even scalped on StockX just to get the long back-ordered builds out the door before the customer might cancel it. This reduced margin, but it was better than allowing the build time and the build itself to go to waste. So Artesian ended up stuck in a dangerous business cycle that a lot of businesses that go out of business find themselves in, where it was perpetually trying to chase the completion of
They
old
should,
orders.
if this is what happened, I don't run a business, but I feel like, what if you just stop taking orders until you have enough supply?
Long paid for, and that money has probably been spent, so it doesn't feel like they're making money anymore with selling new orders. So you're chasing old money with new. They would also reallocate supply already for streamer and celebrity builds as the GPUs arrived, rather than necessarily just sending them all to fulfilling orders. So Artesian's other managers would push for the opposite. They would sometimes push for fulfilling the orders instead of chasing new customer acquisition. From what we've observed, the company had a team of talented people working for it on both coasts, particularly in the management teams and operations, who managed to keep things going in spite of the completely misaligned goals. But
So
at least
Noah was
in
being
the
carried.
later months, there was a clear mutual disrespect between
And he
the
still
CEO
failed.
and his closest assigns and
Jesus,
the rest
man.
of the company. This leaves customers screwed and internal staff frustrated with what could have been and with the cleanup work they're having to do behind their own CEO.
This could have been
or
so
behind the
huge
entire
if it just
brand
anyone
on the
but
other
Noah
coast.
was running it.
And that's not to speak of other communication issues, like the changes that the CEO made overnight or his closest assigns on the West Coast to the website, the promotions, GPU supply shifting within the company. This wasn't communicated with the company, as we understand it, until they woke up and saw it in the morning, until the customer service reps started getting emails from customers and ambassadors asking what's going on.
So I bought a boat. I know what you're thinking. That's crazy.
This erratic and privileged behavior was fueled by a
So
belief that
random.
the money and the
Bought a boat?
GPUs that Artesian had oversold would just keep coming
I'm sure he
in.
doesn't own that
By
boat
all accounts
anymore.
We've received,
Hey,
this team
my man.
absolutely loved its local team. As for what's happening now for the CEO of Artesian Builds and everyone left, well, some of the group from the East Coast office has now split off to form their own new company called Phoenix PCs.
Oh.
And for Mr. Katz, he's changed his name and is dealing with
He changed his name.
numerous lawsuits from multiple different types of parties. And it's likely we haven't heard the end of the story just yet.